Hello and welcome to another episode of UpGrade with Maria Kay, the podcast where your success, freedom and happiness get a weekly boost. And as usual, I'm over the moon that you've taken this time out from your very busy schedule to focus in on how your life is going and perhaps the areas that you're not happy with, bringing them into a forward motion, bringing them into a space of expansion, improvement, and upgrade. It's always an honour for me to know that you've chosen to hang out with me for the next 30 or so minutes. If you haven't already done so, hop along over to the Facebook group, UpGrade with Maria Kay, and say hi. Share with us your progress, share your journey, perhaps any questions or queries you have related to these weekly podcasts, or perhaps any suggestions that you may have towards any future topics. It would be my pleasure to hear from you. So if you haven't already done so, I really look forward to connecting with you. If you don't already know, I help people all over the world create the success, the freedom and the happiness in their life that they not only desire, but truly deserve. And I've got a big grin on my face when I say that, because it is one of my passions in life, aside from being a mother. And when I say it out loud, it never ceases to amaze me that I've got to a point in my life where I can show up every single day as the best possible version of me, so that I can then help other people create their lives and themselves as the best possible version that they can be. It's still, I still marvel, it still excites me. And it only is continuing to get better. Now, let's backtrack a second to years gone by. It hasn't always been exactly how I wanted it. I've had to make a commitment. I've had to get up off the rock bottom floor many, many times, and not wanting today to go into all of those stories, although there's value in them and they indicate that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. If you do want to hear much more about my story, I've shared a lot in previous podcasts, in my vlogs, if you search on YouTube, and in my blog posts too. So if you haven't yet caught up with sort of the saga as it's been unfolding, then please go back and listen. There's lots of stuff in there that can and will, and I'm certain will help you. But just to bring it up to date, I've become quite good at noticing when things are getting stale for me. Recently, over the past sort of 12 or so months, I have completely overhauled my life in a big way. And the next logical step for us as a family was to go completely location independent, which means that we can travel anywhere in the world and continue to work and study. The two children can continue to do their studies, and really embrace the freedom element that goes hand in hand with success and happiness that I am so passionate about. And it's been a beautiful journey, but things have been getting stale. Now, when I say stale, I mean literally for the past 30 days, I decided I knew I was going to be in the same place for 30 days and I wanted to switch it up a little bit. Now, I have just finished my 30-day challenge that I set myself. And it had two parts, just to give you a brief background. The first part was a daily physical yoga practice, which lasted around 30 minutes per day. And the second part was a set of chanting mantra meditations. Now, this challenge that I set myself would take me around 90 minutes per day. Now, this was regardless of all of the other commitments that I had, both work commitments and personal commitments, which is, I've had to have some really early starts to complete the tasks. And I chose to set myself this challenge because, as you know, I've been on a personal and spiritual development, professional upgrade journey and all of that for more years than I actually have fingers. And as I've said, for the most part, it's gone beautifully. It's been on track, obviously many low points, but equally as many high points. But I also strongly believe that following through, there's always room for more, right? There's always room for more. And I am a big advocate of the goalposts continuing to move, right? And the best person that knows how to move our own goalpost is ourselves. So you are actually in the prime position to skyrocket your upgrade this week, this month, this year. So today's podcast is all about self-challenge and its hugely positive effects on your upgrade. Now, please take everything that I'm talking about today and apply it specifically to your life, where you find yourself, the specific area of your life that you are currently focusing in on. And this is a great way to reinvigorate perhaps something, a project, or a focus that you've had for a certain period of time. It's an amazing way to refresh, jumpstart. Now, I had an existing yoga practice, meditation practice. If you've been listening to me for a while, you'll know that I'm a big raving fan of a daily practice, something that you can do on a daily basis that helps slot you back into that centered place, that place of alignment where you see clearly, you know clearly, you hear clearly, and you're able to sidestep all of that crazy drama that sometimes we get caught up in life when we are out of alignment. So my daily practice for the past, goodness knows how many years, has been consisting of yoga, meditation, outdoor walking or running, journaling, just to name a few, right? But I noticed that my tendencies in my yoga practice, when I wasn't in India practicing with my yoga teachers, when I'm traveling or back in the UK, my yoga practice or my choices in yoga would tend to be the more gently route, or the easier option, or more of the stuff that, you know, I've got a big sort of had a big resistance to the standing postures. So I identified those blocks, and I decided it was time to shift things up a gear. So this can apply to any area of your life, whether it be a specific area of upgrade that you want to create, whether it's personal or professional. Maybe it's financial freedom, maybe it's, you know, increasing to the next financial bracket, maybe it's an improvement in your relationships. It may even be your health and wellness. Maybe you want to introduce more fruits and veggies into your diet. Well, really, it doesn't matter what you're focusing on. The sheer act of identifying where the gaps are, okay, and making a commitment to show up daily to fill those gaps in and to stretch yourself further than you are now is really, it's hard to describe how powerful it is. So I really want to stress the importance of quitting waiting around for someone else to tell you what to do, or for someone else to lead you. Now, I strongly believe that when you develop the ability to self-govern and motivate, you can move mountains. You know those blocks that have been in your way for however many years or weeks or months, right? When you step up and become responsible for what's playing out in your life, what is or isn't showing up in your life, that's where you grab hold of the horn, the bull by the horns again, and you have full power. Now, that doesn't mean that you succeed immediately. It doesn't mean that things go exactly how you want them to. What it does mean is that you are fully in control. So when things do collapse, you know why they've collapsed. You can dive into the inner workings of what is going on, right? And tighten up a bolt there, loosen a screw over here, get your spanner out and rework things in a way that is going to support you in moving forward. So just to give you a little insight as to what's been going on over the past 12 months in our family life, I have a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old, and we've recently been changing the format of their education. We've gradually phasing in more autonomic study time, which also includes personal preference-led activities and study, and also personal goal setting, both in the academic and leisure arenas. Now, it's not been plain sailing, I'm going to put my hand up and say, but I am so glad that we embarked on this. Just last week, I walked into our family living space, and what I saw had me in awe. Both the children, well, they're not really children, they're sort of tweens and teens. Both of them were getting on with their self-imposed individual fitness regimes. Now, literally just utilizing their iPhone apps, nothing crazy, nothing amazing. They were in their own home, their space, their living space, and they were taking responsibility for their wellness. Now, that's just one element of life, right? Your wellness, your health. But really and truly, it's one of the basic foundations. So for me, even though we've had our ups and downs with this huge transition, for me, that was one massive piece of evidence that we are choosing right. Now, I'm not saying overhaul the way you do your kids' education. I'm not saying completely radically change your life. What I'm saying is I'm just giving you here the example of how when you hand over the responsibility to either yourself or someone else that you're in a group with or leading, for example, that really and truly when they can become self-governing and almost their own boss, and this applies to you too, you become fully aware, fully conscious, and an active participator in your upgrade. When you know, when you're in the know, rather than just being spoon-fed the instructions, when you create the instructions for your life, then you are always destined to move forwards. It's literally like getting, one of those huge spotlights and shining it on all the dark grey areas that have been confusing you, holding you back, keeping you stuck. By shining this huge, bright spotlight, no matter how messy life is, how difficult or slow your upgrade has been, shining this light on it will give you everything you need to know in order to shift yourself forward. You'll learn about yourself, which first and foremost is paramount. Self-awareness, self-knowledge. So in my last 30-day challenge that I've just completed, I was able to really get to know and explore and stretch to those outer boundaries, right, that I'd been shying away from. My capabilities that I'd kind of resigned myself to not having with regards to that certain element of my yoga practice, those standing postures. And now, I would always avoid them. I would always sort of huff and puff and, pretend that, it was all too difficult. And it was difficult, but it was all in my mind. And now I sail through them, right? I've been able to remember how strong I am, how determined, dedicated, and how limitless I am. Now, that's not, when we talk about physical, anything that we do that's physically challenging. This is perhaps, a topic for another podcast, but just to touch on it briefly, when we embark on any type of physical challenge, it ripples down into all areas of our lives, right? Because to be physically fit, physically strong, physically resilient, it takes mental power, strength, and focus. And since everything you see in your life, for the most part, is created by your mind, it is a really valuable challenge to undertake, to use your body in such a way that it can enable you and assist you in creating that whole life upgrade that you're seeking. So I really want you to take away today some applicable action points. You can perhaps pause this audio, go and grab yourself a pen and paper, jot some things down so that as soon as we're done here, you can get started. So first, I want to give you some general tips and tools around this subject. Challenge equals upgrade, or self-challenge equals upgrade, right? So the first one, moving forward, set yourself small goals each week or month even. Now, this will keep you engaged, on track, and super aware of how you're developing or not, as the case may be. Your upgrade will not happen overnight. And you know what? That wouldn't be fun anyway. I love tracking my progress by playing the this time last year game. And if you prefer a more mathematical approach, go for it. If you want to track it in graphs or stats or whatever, go for it. Whatever makes you happy. You'll be able to then watch your journey and be in awe of it. And as you evolve at different speeds and paces, soak up every milestone, whether it's big, huge, or tiny. Soaking up each milestone and celebrating. Even if it's, for example, getting an early night once a week. Yeah? Or even sleeping in once a week. Can you see how this is so unique to everybody? Whatever it is, even those tiny, tiny milestones are worth celebrating, and they are part of your ever forward, moving, successful transformation. Keep it fresh. This is number 2, and become your own boss. When the focus is current and relevant to where you're at in your sort of progress, when it's relevant and on point with your inner and outer development, your inspirations and your interests, things might have a tendency to get stale, but you'll be so on the ball that you won't let it happen. A little bit like what happened to me this past 30 days. I knew certain areas of my practice were getting stale, and they were impinging on other areas of my life. So I literally took things into my own hands. As I've said, this is your unique journey. So try where possible to avoid following those kind of one-size-fits-all programs, whatever you're looking to improve, whether it's a diet, an exercise regime, a business plan, a relationship strategy, right? There really is no one-size-fits-all. And in my experience, both personally and professionally with my clients, it is a recipe for overwhelm and misery. Now, I just want to preface this by saying that help in the form of a coach or mentor is highly recommended along the way. Now, I wouldn't be where or who I am today without my coaches and mentors. This doesn't belittle the value of practicing self-sufficiency, though. Learning to practice leading yourself from a place of humility, positive encouragement, and sometimes a plain old just get over yourself and get on with it will really help you with getting over much of what's standing your way. So, and it really does differentiate between the successful and unsuccessful people, right? So my advice really is to find a balance of getting help, support, another person's insights, somebody who can push you along, with this space to figure things out for yourself a little bit too. This is why with my private clients, my VIP clients that work with me on a one-on-one level, I have an integration week each and every month. So they see me each week. We have our sessions, our deep transformation sessions, looking at ways to upgrade, implementing strategies, clearing out old beliefs, old wounds, and healing as we move through the time. But each and every month, there's always, and it's so important, integration week. And this is what I say to them, your opportunity to go practice, to go be your own guru, to think for yourself, to take stock, and just get into the inner workings of your journey a little bit deeper. So number 3 is become your own Mr. or Mrs. Motivator. Now, I'm going to go into a step-by-step strategy plan for you in a second, but this point is all about setting yourself a challenge, right? And sticking to it. And if you fall off, get back on again and start again. None of this, oh, well, I ruined my diet. I ate a cookie, so I may as well eat the whole pack of cookies. Or, oh, well, I didn't have the courage to charge my new price in my business. Obviously, I can't do it. I'll just revert back to my old prices. No, when you fail, you get back up and you do it again until you succeed. But for the sake of this, pick a challenge that can be specific to your upgrade. For example, if you're a writer or if you want to become a published author, then it kind of makes sense that you set aside 30 minutes a day to write a chapter of that book or a page or however you want to format it. Or it can be completely non-related, for example, like my yoga and mantra chanting challenge, that will have like an indirect boost or benefit to the bigger picture. But whatever you choose, stick to it, commit to it. Now, I must stress that this next point, right, point number 4, has taken me years to come to. Now, the point is, don't do it alone. Now, I've just described my little 30-day challenge as it may have sounded like it was easy breezy and it's all right for you, Maria. You're who you are. You do what you do for a living or for a passion. I don't really like calling it a living. It is really my passion, my life's work. Anyway, I digress. But I always want to give you guys permission to don't do it alone, right? Although I'm a huge advocate of becoming your own guru, I'm a huge fan of you being your own boss, leading the way, knowing what's right for you, having that conviction, having that brilliant relationship with your inner being, knowing which way you're supposed to go. But you know what, guys? It took me years. As I said earlier on, I have been on a personal and spiritual development journey, on an upgrade journey for more years than I have fingers, right? And there have been points where I haven't done it alone, right? And although I still have a mentor, this challenge was a little bit separate to that because I am in a place where I've practiced. I've run the marathons. I've, seen it through. I've pushed myself and poked myself and not given up until I was happy with the result. But I don't expect you to be there today. So here's an invitation. Don't do it alone. If you feel like you would benefit from a short conversation with me, Okay. And we're talking 15 or 20 minutes here where you and I can sit down and look at exactly what is in your way, what areas of your life could do with a revamp, right? And putting in place a challenge that will get you there within 21 or 30 days, depending on what's good for you. Let me know. Go over to the Facebook group, Upgrade with Maria Kay. Share your challenge or your issue, and I will respond and offer you a chance to connect with me. It doesn't get much better than that, does it, guys? I love connecting with you. It's one of my most favorite things. For now, I want to leave you with a step-by-step plan. So grab your pens and paper and choose the area of your life that is screaming out to you as needing attention. So it could be your health, it could be your relationships, it could be the chaos in your closet, it could be the way the family meals are created or not, as it were. It could be the way that the garden is looked after. It could be your negative mind. Whatever is literally just coming through to you now, jot it down. Big capital letters on the top of your page. Now, underneath that, write down how you would like things to be. So let's fast forward to 30 days time. I'm going to use the example of 30 days. You could do a 7-day, you could do 14-day, 21-day, 40-day, 6 months, whatever. Perhaps keep it to a maximum of 40 days though, actually. So we're going to use the example of 30 days for now. So write down, describe how you would like things to be in 30 days time in conjunction with this specific area. Get descriptive, get specific, dive into how it's going to feel, how you're going to feel, what a dramatic positive effect it's going to have on your life, on the people who love you, on your work, on your health, on your sleeping patterns, so on and so forth. And once you've written all that down, you may need to pause the podcast here. Once you've got all that down on paper, close your eyes and see it, visualize it, conjure it up. Notice the colors. Notice you, maybe the expression on your face. What are you wearing? Have you gone down a dress size? Are you feeling fitter and stronger? Are you able to run down the street without getting out of breath? Are you bouncing out of bed in the morning rather than dragging yourself out of bed? See it, feel it, become it. And now, underneath, write down what you could do. Now, I want you to write down up to 5 options here, all right? You know, there's always more than one way to do things. Now, this is a really powerful takeaway point. There's always more than one way to do things. Most people think if I want to get fit or lose weight, I need to run. Eek, running may not be for everybody. A lot of people think if I want an improved relationship, I need to get everything under control and tell my partner how things need to be. Well, actually, that doesn't always work for everybody. Different personality types require different approaches. So I want you to write down 5 different options of how you could instigate this change, bring about this change. What could you do every single day for the next 30 days that will have a positive effect on the area of your life that you're unhappy with now? The next point is believe that you can do it. Believe that you can do it. Guys, if I can do 53 minutes straight of sitting in a cross-legged position and chanting, right? At the beginning, when I started, my whole body was in agony, sitting in that position for such a long time. But by the end of it, I would get to minute 47 and think, oh my goodness, I've nearly finished. It feels like I've only just started. So if I can do that within 30 days or less, believe that whatever it is you want to bring about, create, change, shift, effect in your life, you too can do that. The final point is go do it. Start today. Do not wait. So write that down. First of all, write, I can do it. And you may want to adopt this as your mantra for the next 30 days. Write it somewhere, write it on your mirror, put it on a piece of paper, stick it in your car. Wherever you sort of frequent every day, have that mantra so you can see it as a reminder. I can do it. I believe I can do it. Fiddle around with the words, find what feels good. And then let's go. Let's just go. Now, I do really want to hear all about the challenge that you're setting for yourself, right? Let me know. Send me a message. Hook up with me in UpGrade with Maria K Facebook group. I am so excited about this next phase of your upgrade. Until next time, I'm leaving you with as much courage, self-motivation, and self-belief as you